Do you understand what I'm saying? Why should someone as incompetent as you get the same rewards as our top performers? Rachel, my boss, has been belittling me and calling me incompetent. She lies all the time and has no problem throwing people under the bus. For the past 8 months, she has bullied me relentlessly. But I've had enough. I'm going to show her what kind of person I really am. The CEO's glance signals the time to strike back. At that moment, I vowed to get my revenge. My name is Melody Kun, and I'm 37 years old. I married my husband, who is 2 years younger, 10 years ago. We don't have kids, but our relationship is still strong, and I think we're closer than most couples our age. We both work full-time jobs. My husband is an office worker, and I was a sales rep for a pharmaceutical company. The company had its challenges, but it was fulfilling and rewarding. I had a great track record and developed personal relationships with medical institutions and doctors. I loved my job and wanted to continue for as long as possible. 6 months ago, I got a job offer from another pharmaceutical company. To put it simply, they wanted to poach me. I was hesitant to accept because I liked my position at my current company, but they offered me a potential manager role in the future, so I decided to take the job. Now I work at Biomedical Corp. There were some handovers and a move, but I recently joined the company. I thought I'd be doing the job I love again. That's what I thought back then. I was assigned to the same sales role as before, introducing drugs and building trust with medical institutions to secure ongoing contracts. I also reported back to the company about the real-world use of the drugs, including usage rates, incidents, and side effects, to help advance medical research. The job itself wasn't different from my previous one, so I quickly settled into my new department and started going on sales calls with my boss. My boss's name is Rachel Sanchez, and she's 58 years old. She's been with the company for 35 years. Before meeting her, I pictured her as a short, overweight woman with a loud voice, like a character from an old cartoon. But she was nothing like that. She was tall and slender, with long black hair pulled back with a gold barrette adorned with pearls. Her makeup was flawless, with striking red lips, making her look much younger than her age. In one word, she was a stunning woman. She had an air of perfection about her, excelling at her job and being friendly without flaunting her competence. I was excited to work alongside her. But contrary to my expectations, the other employees gave me worried looks and said things like, "Good luck, it's going to be tough." I started feeling a bit anxious, but decided to use my experience and skills to do my best. On the day I was to accompany Rachel, we had a meeting with the head of a hospital we've been working with for years. The hospital had requested that we come around 9 a.m. before consultations began. Rachel and I were supposed to meet at the hospital entrance at 8:40 a.m., but she didn't show up. I tried calling her, but there was no answer. Growing more anxious, I kept calling her while waiting in front of the hospital, but she never came. It was 5 minutes before the appointment, and I started panicking. If I was late, I'd inconvenience the head of the hospital, which had always favored us. Something must have happened to her. Thinking this, I decided to go to the meeting alone. I handed my freshly made business card to the hospital receptionist. "Hello, I'm Melody Kun from Biomedical Corp. I have an appointment with the head doctor at 9 a.m. today." "An appointment with a head doctor? Please wait a moment," the receptionist said as she checked a large schedule book. I stood there checking my reflection in the automatic door, making sure I looked presentable. This was my first meeting for this company, but I knew I could handle it. As I tried to calm my nerves, the receptionist called me over. There's no appointment for Biomedical Corp today. I'm pretty sure Rachel Sanchez set it up. She did contact us, but the appointment is for next week. The receptionist showed me the email exchanges between Rachel and the secretary, confirming the appointment for the following week. Rachel had told me to come to the hospital at 8:40 today. Did I mishear her? With no way to contact her, I apologized to the receptionist and hurried back to the office. When I arrived, I was shocked to see Rachel already there, talking to the department head with a confused look on her head. I rushed to her desk. Rachel, you're here? Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be? What happened to you? Being late is unacceptable. I went to the hospital on 7th Avenue. You told me the meeting was today, but the receptionist said it's next week. I spoke to her excitedly, but she remained calm, raising her eyebrows in confusion. I told you it was next week. You must have misunderstood. Showing up late and then not being able to contact me? This doesn't bode well for your future here, she said, looking at the department head. I'm really sorry about my subordinate. I'll make sure she doesn't repeat this mistake, she told him. What's going on? I had called her multiple times, but she acted like it never happened. She insisted that I had mistaken the date. Even though I was right, as a new employee, I had no chance of winning this credibility battle. Reluctantly, I apologized to both Rachel and the department head. From that day on, Rachel's harassment began. She'd give me misleading information, and when I acted on it, it would turn out to be false, making me look bad in front of the department head. She frequently altered the shared whiteboard schedule to trip me up. According to other employees, she bullied every new recruit for her amusement. They wanted to help, but Rachel was too sly, making sure no one else noticed her harassment. None of the other employees were involved in the appointment incident. Her harassment wasn't just about tarnishing my reputation within the company. Once a clinic requested a study session for a new drug. This clinic, part of a larger hospital network, only treated patients with specific diseases. They wanted to learn about a new drug my company was selling, which could significantly impact future treatments. For a pharmaceutical company, this kind of session is crucial because it can greatly influence drug sales. Leading a presentation wasn't a big deal. I'd done it many times before, reading from a manual and answering questions. If I didn't know an answer, I'd follow up later by email or phone. I was experienced in this from my previous job, so I was put in charge of the session. However, I was still a newbie, so Rachel was assigned to accompany me. Although I dreaded working with her, I had to do my job. I trusted that Rachel wouldn't mess with the medical staff. On the day of the session, I prepared extra pamphlets with data on the new drug's trials, effects, benefits, and side effects, and headed to the clinic. Rachel and I planned to meet there. I had confirmed the date with the clinic beforehand to avoid any mishaps. 5 minutes after I arrived, Rachel showed up. We started setting up the room for the session. Everything went smoothly. The presentation began and I explained the drug while answering questions from doctors and nurses. Everything was going well. But then the nightmare began. I was finishing up and talking to the head doctor about scheduling the next appointment. Thank you for today, doctor. I'd like to bring you the sales data for the drug we discussed today. So could we set up an appointment for a later date?
Sure. I'd like to meet after I've had a chance to use it. So how about a month from now?
Hold on, sir. For some reason, Rachel interrupted. Let me be the one to discuss the date for the next meeting.
Oh, okay, sure.
Thank you. I need to handle this because she has previously tried to get personal contact information from doctors under the pretense of setting appointments and was reprimanded for it, she said, lying right to my face. Wait, That's not true. I immediately denied it, but Rachel continued. Everyone knows. You should handle the cleanup now. Doctor, about the date.
Yeah.
The head doctor and Rachel walked away, and I felt the doctor's gaze turn disdainful. How could she lie like that just because I was a new worker? Why would she want to ruin my reputation with the medical staff and our colleagues? I didn't understand. Fighting back tears, I promised myself that I'd make her pay. I have experience, knowledge, and pride from my previous job. My time in this industry may be shorter than hers, but that doesn't matter. I will get my revenge. Despite her relentless harassment, I worked hard, determined not to let her win. My efforts paid off, and slowly my performance improved. 8 months had passed since I joined the company. One morning during a sales department meeting, Rachel spoke. Thank you for your hard work this month. The manual revisions and training sessions have been tough, but thanks to you, our sales have steadily increased over the past 6 months. I really appreciate it. For once, the tension in the room eased and employees smiled. She rarely spoke like this, so everyone felt more relaxed. So, here's a surprise. Today, we're going out for Kobe beef, courtesy of the company. The CEO will be joining us, so please try to attend. The employees started buzzing with excitement.
Yes, Wagyu.
A young worker cheered. This is so last minute. I didn't bring my makeup, a female employee complained. Everyone had their own thoughts, but in the end, everyone agreed to go. That night, we all gathered at the restaurant Rachel had chosen. Employees sat with their close friends, while I, not particularly close to anyone, took a seat at the front. A few minutes later, Rachel arrived with the CEO. The employees who had arrived earlier stood up and greeted them. I did the same. When Rachel spotted me, she smirked and said, Everyone, great job. Enjoy yourselves and eat as much as you want. She then added, This is a reward for our top performers. The employees smiled happily, but the next moment the room fell silent. Melody, why are you here? What do you mean? I replied, confused by her question. This dinner is to reward our top performers. You're not one of them, so why are you here? What? I couldn't process her words. She had indeed said, let's go eat Wagyu steak with our top performers. It was a scheme to exclude me. The employees who had been cheerful a moment ago now looked confused and remained silent. They sensed the tension. Rachel continued. Do you understand what I'm saying? Why should someone as incompetent as you get the same rewards as our top performers? She added. Do I need to be more direct? You're not invited to this dinner. Leave now. She spoke with a mocking smile. I looked down, my shoulders shaking, fists clenched. I had reached my limit. This was too much. I had been passionate about my work since my previous job. I never slacked off, not even once, since I joined this company. In fact, I worked harder because of Rachel. I hadn't achieved massive results, but I had improved my performance. Her words were too much. I was furious, but took a deep breath to calm myself. I glanced at the CEO, who nodded with a smile. The moment had finally come. I spoke up. I was headhunted by the CEO to join this company. What? Do you understand what I'm saying? I was headhunted by your CEO, Mr. Torres, to join this company. Rachel was speechless, her mouth open in shock. The employees started murmuring, No way, and
Seriously?
Do you know what headhunting means? It means I was recruited. Recruited? What are you talking about? Why would someone like you be recruited? She asked, still in disbelief. I decided to explain. I was brought here to improve the company's performance. Mr. Torres noticed my achievements at my previous job and reached out to me. Rachel began to understand, her eyes darting nervously, but she wasn't about to give up. So what? Even if you were headhunted, you're still incompetent. How did you get recruited with such mediocre results?
I understand why you think that.
Exactly. Your results are nowhere near mine.
She shouted, clearly agitated, her makeup covered, face flushed. The CEO intervened. If I may, it's hard to run a company based solely on one person's sales performance. That's why I asked Miss Kuhn to help improve the performance of all our employees.
What do you mean?
Rachel asked, bewildered. She suggested two things. First, to create a manual based on her sales experience for the employees to follow. Second, to hold training sessions to reform their mindset and approach, boosting their motivation and performance.
So, the recent manual revisions and training sessions were her ideas, which improved our employees' performance?
Exactly. Thanks to her, our sales are doing well. The CEO confirmed. Rachel whispered,
No way.
Looking defeated. The CEO continued with a calm smile. You've been calling Miss Kuhn incompetent, but can you still say that knowing the facts? Rachel muttered to herself, losing her composure. She no longer had the composure she had before. However, whether out of pride or something else, she still tried to argue back.
Even if what you're saying is true, her personal sales haven't improved. She can train others, but if she's incompetent herself, it's not convincing.
She was determined to label me as incompetent. I had no idea why she held such a grudge against me. The CEO continued. Miss Kuhn's job isn't just to improve her own sales. Her role is to boost the company's overall sales. Rachel, still trying to undermine me, said,
From my perspective as her superior, her work attitude is unacceptable.
Desperately trying to bring me down, she was met with the CEO's final blow. Miss Kuhn is set to become an area manager soon. She'll be your superior.
I'm sorry? Why would someone incompetent be my boss?
You still don't get it, do you? She's not just an employee. She was brought here because we asked her to. It's only natural we give her a suitable position. Frankly, she is far superior to you. The CEO concluded. Rachel was left speechless, unable to argue further. The dinner at the fancy steakhouse was cancelled. As we had only reserved seats, for the exact number of people, the cancellation fee wasn't too high. Defeated, Rachel silently took a taxi and left. She took 2 weeks off work. When she returned, she was unkempt, with messy hair and shabby clothes. She was banned from visiting medical institutions due to her appearance and demeanor, and many clients requested a change in their representative. She muttered to herself constantly, unsettling everyone. Eventually, she grabbed an innocent employee, accusing them of bad-mouthing her, and assaulted them. The police were called, and she was arrested on the spot. Even as she was taken away, she shouted, I'm the best! She was dismissed from her job and is now awaiting trial in custody. 2 years have passed since then. I successfully contributed to the company's growth and became an area manager. I now oversee medical institutions in my area and support our employees. I'm well respected in the company, and like my previous job, I've created a great work environment. I'm grateful for my job and want to continue doing what I love. With this in mind, I continue to work hard every day.